Why do we need to make better decisions in life? Well, I believe if at any given point, if we look back at our life is a reflection of our own decisions. You can give the credit to others or you can put the blame on others, but if you really dig down deep, every single turn in our life is a decision of ours. Well, I thought to do this video not because I am an expert in decision making, but because of few strategies I've been using for last 5 years that really helped me to make better decisions in my life. I think this line of thinking helped me immensely in decision making. So I thought to share this with you guys and hopefully it will help you to think differently in the line of decision making. So I am going to talk about 5 aspects I think that really helped me to make better decisions in my life. Hopefully these 5 strategies will help you to make better decisions as well that your future self will not regret. The first one is mindset shift, goal versus identity. The second one is writing down your goals. Third one, stop overthinking. And the fourth is stay focused. Last, reflecting regularly. Mindset shift. As I told before, I consider myself a better decision maker. But one thing I realized over time is that making better decisions is not enough unless that decisions lead me to the correct destination. I have always been a goal-oriented person and that has helped me to make better decisions in my life. However, I have identified over time that what is most important is to identify what kind of person I want to become rather than the goal I want to achieve. So this is like identifying my own identity, something like the ultimate goal in one direction. And when I'm clear in my head about what identity I want to become or what kind of person I want to become, it's far easy for me to make better decisions towards becoming that person. In one of my most favorite books, The 3 Layers of Behavioral Change is mentioned. And in that chapter, it clearly mentions importance of identity-based habits. This is so true for me. When I am clear about my identity or like as I said, what kind of person I want to become, it's so easy for me to set a realistic goal. So for me, mindset shift is all about recognizing my identity. For example, when it comes to my career, at some point I had to choose my postgraduate pathway. I had few specialties which I really liked and also I have worked and I had some experience on. I really loved working in anesthesia and I liked emergency medicine, I liked general medicine and also I really loved obstetric and gynecology. So when I had to choose one, I really sat down and thought about what kind of doctor I want to become in future or what really suits my own personality. Then I realized I didn't want to do any of the specialties I mentioned. None of those matched my personality and my identity or the kind of doctor I want to become in future. I am the kind of person that wants to make my own decisions in my own space and work with my own rules. I really didn't like working in the hospital environment, even if I am a doctor. I always wanted to work in an office environment. And I remember the days I was talking to my husband and thinking, I should have done something else so that I can work in an office in front of a computer. But when I look into the possibilities, I really found something that really suits my identity. And I chose to become a general practitioner. When I started training, I realized this is my passion and this is what I wanted to do all along in my life. Because I invested time to recognize my own identity, it was so easy for me to make that decision. More importantly, after I did that, I started loving my job more and more. This is only one example. When it comes to making decisions about my children or how far I am going to involve in their lives, it is again so easy for me to recognize my identity or what kind of parent I want to become. Am I going to become a typical Asian parent who, dedicate my entire life into my kids, thinking that I am going to live my life when they turn 18? Or am I going to be the parent who teach them essential life skills and step into their lives whenever necessary? I honestly don't know which is correct or which is wrong, but according to my own, values and priorities, I am clear that I am not going to over-involve in their lives. And when I'm clear about this identity, it is so easy for me to make decisions in my life about my children. Similarly, when it comes to exercise and diet, I am so clear in my head that I want to become a healthy person who make healthy dietary choices and who maintain a healthy weight. But I am clear that I don't want to become a gym rat or I don't want to become someone who just, enjoy the life, eat and drink whatever you find and not to worry about the unseen future. And again, it's not about what is correct and what is wrong. It is about my identity based on my own values and priorities. Therefore, my decisions are totally different to a sports person's decision. Similarly, my decisions are totally different to a person who do not worry about unseen heart attack or diabetes they are going to get in future. I hope it's clear what I'm trying to emphasize here. According to my experience, when I am clear about my identity in different aspects of my life, it is so easy for me to make better decisions. So next one is writing down goals. I cannot tell enough the importance of writing things down. Writing or typing or whichever the way you put your thoughts out is so powerful. But writing things down is so important to get the clarity in your head and not to lose yourself along the way. And this is one main reason everyone in this era is talking about the importance of journaling. It doesn't really matter if you journal or not, but writing your goals down is really important and it can literally change your life. Whether it is a personal developmental goal or my career goal or my parental goal, I literally write it down. When I write something down, it's like fixing something in my head. When I write it down, I usually write down my goals and the small steps I have to take towards reaching that goal. Because I am clear about my identity, I am almost always clear about my goals. So there is no room for me to doubt about any of my decisions. So it is so easy for me to get going and get into action. I recently found one of my diaries from 2014 where I had written one of my career goals. I had written that I wanted to migrate to UK and work in NHS as a doctor. And below that, I had literally written down the small steps I had to take, doing IELTS and scoring so and so, and doing PLAB 1, PLAB 2, getting the GMC registration, and getting a job in NHS. 4 years after I written down that in my diary, I was already in the UK working as an SHO in an NHS hospital. So when you write things down, it literally takes a lot of weight off your head. And most importantly for me, I don't have any room to doubt myself or to doubt about my decision when I write things down. Actually, when I write something, it helps me to believe more on my own decisions. Whatever you want to achieve in your life, you must have seen that there is abundance of choices. If you are an overthinker, abundance of choices is going to make your life miserable. You will spend a lot of time choosing an option. For example, if you're thinking of migrating or going out to some other country and working, there are plenty of options. First, you need to decide which country you are going to go based on your own priorities and values in your lives. And once you decide that, you are done with decision making. And next step is to write it down and write down the steps towards reaching that goal. And try working on that very first step you've written down. And you are no longer going to, reevaluate your goal and reevaluate your decision and doubt about your decision. This approach will definitely help you to stay away from distractions and work towards your own goals in life. Whenever I get lost along the way, I always come back to my journal and look at the goals I have set for me. And it really helps me to reset my focus. And to be honest, I have experienced the more I do this, the more stronger my determination becomes. My favorite universal law is law of attraction. And we all know that daily looking at your own goals and destinations in life and visualizing about your destination is a well-known way to practice law of attraction. At this given moment, you may be having several different goals in your life. Taking 5 minutes to write those things down will offload a lot of weight from your brain and definitely will give you a lot of clarity in your own decisions. And next is stop overthinking. Overthinking is not helping to make better decisions at all. But we think if we consider all the options available and if we think of the pros and cons of all the available options, we'll be able to make the best decision we need to. But actually, opposite is true. There are a few things that help me to stop overthinking. If you are an overthinker, you definitely should have experienced analysis paralysis. This happens almost all the time when you are going to make a bigger decision in your life. Analysis paralysis is when you end up collecting too much data and analyzing all these data excessively and end up not making any decisions in the end. For example, if you want to lose weight, an overthinker will look at all the possible methods to lose weight out there and consider, pros and cons of all the different methods. And they will keep doing this and never take the first step they need to take towards their weight loss goal. When you overthink, you invariably increase the number of choices you have to choose from, and making a choice will become harder and harder. There is a psychological principle called Heck's law, and that describes the disadvantage of abundance of information. And it is also proven that when you have abundance of choices, you are more likely to be less satisfied about your outcome. For example, imagine some person have to choose a dessert for them to eat. A person A will have 2 or 3 desserts in front of him, and the person B will have 10 desserts in front of him. Invariably, person A will choose a dessert for him with less effort, and the person B will find it very difficult for him to find a single choice of dessert out of those 10 options. And the person A is going to be more satisfied about their choice than person B who chose a desert out of 10 options. So for me, when I want to make an important decision, I deliberately limit the information I have and deliberately limit the choices I have out there. So first, work on your identity and then identify your goals. Write it down and write down the small steps you have to take to reach that goal. And start working towards that very first step you have written down. Believe me, if you get that clarity in your mind, better decision making is as easy as it sounds. There is one more important thing I learned over time that helped me to stop overthinking. I have heard somewhere that life is not like playing chess or checkers where we have all the possible information in front of us in order to make a decision about our next move. Life is more like playing a card game where I almost always don't know the cards the opponent is holding, and I have to be able to work with less information for me to become a better player in a card game. Successful players work with less information and they are okay to lose. And that is how I think we all have to look towards our life. And it is true that today we have abundance of information and abundance of ways to find information about something. So I think we all have to deliberately limit the information we have in order to make better decisions and be able to more satisfied about our decisions in life. And next is staying focused. So how do I stay focused and not let my self-doubt ruin my plans? Well, whenever I have a doubtful situation, what I do is I look forward to my life into like 5 years from now, where I am going to be 5 years from now and who I am going to be 5 years from now. When I do this, almost always I have been able to make a better choice or a better decision. And when I think in this line, it is so easy for me to eliminate my self-doubt and also to reset my focus in life. You must have heard in many places people advise you to think forward in 1 year time already. But I think for me 5 years is more realistic than 1 year according to the decisions I make in my life. I got this golden advice when I was struggling to make one of my best decisions in life. That is to choose my life partner. And the entire world was against me and I had to make a decision about my future. I had this advice when it was most necessary in my life. When I was given this advice, it was so easy for me to make the decision to marry my current husband, and we have been living happily for over a decade now. And this decision became the wisest decision I have made so far about my life. Since then, I kept using this strategy whenever I struggled to make a decision. So finally, reflecting regularly. I honestly didn't know the importance of reflecting on things. And reflecting is basically stepping out of a situation and looking at it in a learning point of view. Now I am so used to doing this because I have been doing this almost daily for last 3 years when it comes to my my career and my work-life balance, because it is a necessity in my work portfolio. So I have to daily reflect on the decisions I make, the things I do in my workplace. When I started doing this more and more, I realized how this reflection on things mold me as a doctor, and it helped me to make better decisions and learn from my mistakes, and it really helped me to identify my own strengths as well as my own weaknesses. So I started reflecting on things when it comes to my personal life as well. Daily reflecting on things, for example, something that happened yesterday that made me really angry or really upset. If I really looking into that, details of that situation, it helps me to identify where things went wrong and where I have done things wrong and what I could do to make things better in future. So I realized more I do this, better I become in decision making in life. To be honest, for the first 2 decades in my life, I have lived without a goal or a meaning for my life. But for last few years, I realized the importance of living a meaningful life or importance of living a mindful life. Everything we do in this life has a meaning. So it is really important for us to, get the authority and get the control of our own decisions in life and get the control of our own lives. I believe everything in this life is a skill we can learn. Decision making is a skill and we can learn it and we can get better with time. Practice always makes perfect. And when I write things down, I always have something to come back and look at when I get lost in my life. Knowing the purpose of my life and knowing the reasons for everything I do is a priceless feeling. I hope at least 1/3 of the things I wanted to emphasize have reached you. And I really thank you for staying till the end of this video.